Hey FMA, it's Michelle, and I'm here at Old Woman Creek Beach. It's a state nature preserve and a National Estuarine Research Reserve, so it's protected. At Montessori, we have been talking about and learning about living and non-living things. So I just took a minute to kind of search the area I'm in. Maybe we'll just take a close, can you move the camera to show our view here? Alright. I'm amazed by what I see here. So as far as living and non-living, I would like you to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay. So right here I have driftwood. Okay. Living or non-living? That's pretty tricky. The tree was living, but after a while in the lake, it's going to weather down and make it real smooth. And we've got some funny shapes, different types of driftwood. Alright, now I found something else. Living or non-living? What is this? Okay. Alright, well, I thought I had... So, at one time it was living. This is a stalk of a plant. So if I dissect it and I open it up, it's still wet. Kind of like celery, how it holds a lot of water. And you've got this fibrous, thread-like system inside of it. Cool, huh? Alright, what else did I find here? Really cool. Oh, wave to the other visitor on Old Woman Creek Beach. So, what is this? We've also been talking about vertebrae and non-vertebrae in animals. So, what is that? Yeah, it's a backbone. So backbone of some creature, possibly a fish. So the fish was living at some point. Another fish finding I found that is pretty cool. I just learned about it this summer. Does can you see it really good? I'll put it in my hand here. Does anybody know what this is? Well, like 40 to 60% of the fish in Lake Erie are sheephead, or we call them drum. And what this is the inside bone. All those are little teeth. See them? So it's on the side of the fish mouth, and then all those little white things are its teeth. That's a pretty cool find, I think. Another thing I found on the beach. What is that? Anybody know what that is? It looks to me like a tadpole by its shape. That is a seed from a tree. Anybody know what tree that's from? We call them helicopters. If I go like this, well, that one didn't spin, but sometimes they do. That's a seed from a maple tree. And the seed is living. It will produce a new plant. Alright, so some other things I found are non-living. If you look about, what do we see a lot of in the sand? Can we show the sand? It's just covered in rocks. Now, are rocks living or non-living? That's right, they're non-living. But I was amazed today at how many rocks there are here that were brought up by the storm. All different sizes, all different shapes and colors, all different kinds. So they are non-living.
There's a bug on your hat.
Now the sand, just like soil, is that living or non-living? That's right. Sand and soil are non-living, but they do support life. So some of the rocks I did find. What is this? That's right. That's a brick. How about this one? And it's so sparkly. It's got little crystals in it. Look at that pattern. It's a bunch of layers. That's sandstone. A good percentage of the rock in the earth in our area is sandstone. Another rock that's found pretty prevalent in our area is shale. Now this is an excellent skipping rock. Have you ever come to the beach and skipped rocks? Maybe we'll try that later. we also found, so the sandstone, the shale are sedimentary rocks, and so is this rock. If you can see it, it's got cement and all different types of rocks cemented inside to make one rock. That's what sedimentary rocks are. Weathering and erosion breaks them down and compacts them together. And this one has tons of little holes in it. I'm sure that living organisms use a lot of non-living rock for its habitat. Pretty cool. Ooh, now this is black. And we get this out of the earth. Found a large piece of coal. At least I think it's coal. Alright, so those are non-living rocks. And I'm going to read a story here in a minute, but I just wanted to point out one more thing. Amongst all these living and non-living things, I did find a shell. Now, is the shell living? No. Could something live inside of it? Absolutely. Pretty good sized shell. Put it here on our tree. Now, I found a lot of trash. Some different types here. Found some metal. Found some plastic. And even found a piece of paper. This is one of the most found items of trash on a beach, called a cigar tip. It's made out of plastic. Cigar butt. Smoking is so unhealthy for people. And glass, beach glass. Alright, so we'll use these when we do our art later, but the glass was made from sand, and then it spent so much time in the lake that it weathered and conditioned. It got all frosted. That takes about 30 years for that frosted look, and it got all smooth. Now this one's white, and this one is purple, has a purple tint. Gosh, they're both over 30 years old. White's a common glass, but this has a purple tint. After World War II, they changed the chemical in the glass, so that's why we would get a light colored purple. That's a pretty rare find. Pretty excited about that. Since it's trash, we'll take it with us. Alright, so the book I wanted to read, since we found so many amazing rocks, is If You Find a Rock. The photographs are by Barbara Hirsch Lumber, and it's written by Peggy Christian. Can we see the book?
Yep.
My daughter, who just graduated, is helping me with the camera. This was my son's favorite book. If You Find a Rock. If you find a rock, a nice flat rounded rock that sits just right in the crook of your finger, then you have a skipping rock. You toss it out in the water just so and see if it trips across the surface, making a chain of spreading rings. Remember we found our skipping rock? Maybe you find a soft white rock, a rock that feels dusty in your fingers. Then you have a chalk rock, and you use it to make pictures on the pavement. Gosh, that would be cool to do over at our playground on the blacktop. Or you might find a big mossy rock by the side of a long steep trail. Then you have a resting rock, and as you sit down, you feel the cool moss squish beneath you. Then again, you might find a rock with a stripe running all the way around it. Trace the line with your finger. It must circle all the way. You have a wishing rock, and you whisper what you want before you throw it. Anyone had a wishing rock? That sounds special. If you find a rock, a big rock, by the edge of the water, then you have found a splashing rock. When it hits the surface, the water jumps out of the way, raining back down on your outstretched hands. The bigger the rock, the wetter you get. Maybe you find a pile of small rounded pebbles, and then you have found sifting rocks, and you can scoop up a handful and let them slide slowly through your fingers. Gosh, there are a ton of pebbles on this beach today. Or you might find a rock whose water-smooth surface catches your eye. If it feels easy in your hand when you rub it, then you have found a worry rock. You rub it between your fingers and your pebbles are smoothed away. So maybe you want to keep a rock in your pocket if that makes you feel confident. Then again, you might find a rock sitting in a grassy field. Push it over. You have found a hiding rock, and in the cool, dark underside live all kinds of things that creep and crawl and hide out of sight. If you find a rock, a great rock, that towers over you, then you have found a climbing rock. Hold on with your toes and fingers, grip hard as you can, stretch up and pull until you reach the top where you feel much grander than you did on the ground. Those are fun, climbing rocks. I bet you all have found a climbing rock. Maybe you will find a twisting line of rocks sticking up out of a creek, and then you have found crossing rocks, which wait to meet your feet as you pass over the water, rushing away all around you. They can be slippery, so you must be very careful. Or you might find a rock with a print of something else, a leaf or a shell. Then you have found a fossil rock, and you feel the shape of something that lived long ago when the rock was young. Gosh, we didn't find any fossil rocks today, but this would be a great place to look. Then again, you could find a small rounded rock right in front of your toe as you go down the sidewalk. You have found a walking rock, and you kick it ahead of you. Let it be, lead you home. If you find a rock that's not a skipping rock, or a chalk rock, or a resting rock, or a wishing rock, that's not a splashing rock, or a sifting rock, or a worry rock, or a hiding rock, that's not even a climbing rock, or a crossing rock, or a fossil rock, or a walking rock. But you like it anyways because it reminds you of a place, or a feeling, or someone important. Then you have found a memory rock. And sometimes those are the best rocks of all. This is one of my favorite books. I hope you enjoyed that. Just remember, Old Woman Creek is a state nature preserve, so everything here stays. So even though these are memory rocks, special rocks, I'm going to leave them here so someone else can look at them and discover them. But I am going to take my trash with me.